The pen really is mightier than the sword. Hey everyone, welcome to Prince of the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 2 of Zenshu. So, we reacted to the first episode in a first impression showdown back in January, alongside the likes of Sakamoto. And I've been wanting to get back to this ever since. Like, the first episode really impressed me in ways that I didn't expect. It's an isekai, but it's unique in a few different ways. So we have our main character, Hirose, who is a mangaka, a famous mangaka. Like, she's actually made a big name for herself. And one day, she dies. She gets food poisoning and dies. And there's kind of the question of whether or not it's intentional, like whether or not the manager intentionally killed her or not. It's hard to say. But either way, she ends up getting teleported to the world of her favorite anime movie, which she has insanely memorized. It apparently didn't do super well, but she has a great fondness for it. And she discovered that she can affect things and change how the story goes by utilizing this new power she's gotten, which is basically art. She's able to use her drawing skills to basically create these artistically formed weapons or golems or whatever, different things like that. From what it seems, we get the one example of her like creating this thing to take out these armies and to save Unio, who is this kind of unicorn sidekick character to the main princely warrior guy, and completely changes how the story is meant to go initially. So now she's just involved in everything and has to try and figure out what's going on and how she's going to fit into all of this. I've seen many isekai, and it's not the most unique like setup for an isekai I think I've seen. I think probably ReZero is still the most unique one I've seen. But nonetheless, it's still very creatively done. This is Mappa, I believe, and the animation in the first episode, especially when she starts drawing, is like drop dead gorgeous. It's so fucking amazing. And it really caught my attention very quickly and just hooked me in with the writing, the character work, the visuals. It was just a really, really good first episode. And I'm hoping that it continues to be this good. Because at least for now, the season has finished. I believe it's 12 episodes rather than 13. And I don't know if there's going to be more after this. Probably. But for now, we've got this single core series to look forward to. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see more of the amazing animation, to see more like in depth of what her powers can do. And just to see how, with her changes affecting the world, what's that going to come to? Excuse me. Because the big thing was that Unio was supposed to die. And this was supposed to send the princely warrior guy, I don't remember his name. This was supposed to send him into like this spiral that puts him in his villain arc, basically. And that's not going to happen now. Like, his best friend didn't die, so he's not going to go into it, at least not right now. So how will that change the rest of the story? How will that affect how the rest of the story normally goes? Because it was going very by the numbers prior to this, outside of her involvement in everything. Like, she even understood when the attack was going to happen in the first place. So it's like, yeah, I'm curious to see how everything goes down. I feel like there's a lot of potential here. And it's one of those rare isekai that I'm actually very interested in. And I'm very much invested in seeing what happens next with. So let's get into this episode and see what it has in store for us. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I think one of my favorite things about this series so far, and we actually get this a lot more in this episode than even the first, though there was definitely setup for it in the first, and we got like a little bit of it, but not to the same degree as this one. Um, one of the things I really like about this, one of my favorite things so far, is that our main character is an absolute fucking weirdo. And I mean that with all the love. Because you don't see that often enough, in my opinion. There's a lot of times where anime will glamorize, for lack of a better word, their female main characters. Whenever you have a female main character, they're often either shown to be overly perfect or, flawed in a more human sense. To where it's like they're a little klutzy, they're a little goofy, but they'd never let them go full weirdo. A lot of times the weirdos you'll see in anime tend to be male characters. There are exceptions, of course. There's multiple female characters in Komi Wants to Communicate, or Komi Can't Communicate, rather. She does want to, but... there's multiple female characters in Komi Can't Communicate that are kind of weirdos, and Komi herself is a bit of a weirdo, too. She's and not just because of her shyness. Like, she's a bit of a weirdo. But there's quite a few characters in there. And my go-to thought for, especially for a leading female character who's a fucking weirdo is absolutely Jolene Cujo from JoJo Part 6 Stone Ocean. Jolene is a fucking menace. And not just because she's, a great fighter and, part of the Joestar bloodline and everything, and has, the tenacity and skill that her family typically has. She is a horny little weirdo. One of the earliest parts in the series is literally her talking about masturbating and getting caught masturbating in prison. When when she gets to the prison and the guards are, searching her and all, she strips down and starts posing at them. I mean, JoJo does poses, that's a thing with the series, but it's like, oh my god, you were just a fucking weirdo. And you see this throughout the entirety of Stone Ocean. She's just fucking weird. And that's obviously very fitting for JoJo, because all of the JoJos, all of the main characters are kind of weird to a degree. Except for maybe Jonathan. He's not that weird. He's just a gentleman. But starting with Joseph, it's like they all started getting really weird. Like, even Jotaro, who's very stoic and everything, has his weird moments. Um, Not as much as the others, but still. He's not like Josuke weird or even Giorno weird, but still. Anyway, I like that she's a weirdo, Hirose, in this. Um, because she's allowed to be messy. She's allowed to be uncouth. She's allowed to, like, just not come across as perfect. And I really like that because it makes her feel very real. And you can say there's a little aspect of it with, like, her being a mangaka and everything, and or an animator. Um, and with, like, them kind of like jokingly making fun of themselves, the animators and mangakas who work on this, kind of like all the all the people in the industry like working on a series like this are kind of like almost making fun of themselves with characters like this. They're like taking a jab at like a lot of the typical stereotypes. And it's like, oh yeah, I kind of am a loner weirdo. I do kind of like have poor eating habits, and they're just having fun. They're messing around, and I feel like the writer for this, like the original mangaka, probably put a lot of themselves into this. It feels like very real and personal in a way that again you just don't get with a lot of series. She feels like a real person rather than a caricature of a real person. She's allowed to be messy and weird and rambunctious and kind of a little shit at points. And I appreciate that because it allows her to stand out. And I mean, most of the time she's walking around with her hair just hanging over her face to the point where just to eat, she has to like literally pull her arms back behind her hair. It makes a point of showing that every time. Every time she eats, she has to take the food and like pull it back behind her hair to get to her mouth. It makes a point of that. And it's just like, it's so refreshing to see a female character just be fucking strange. And you obviously see Luke and the others like kind of judging her for it. But it doesn't entirely try to make her out to be a bad person for it. It's just like, oh, she's weird. She's unusual. That's all it is. But like even when you like see her like thirsting over the mayor and his revealing outfit showing off his muscles and his very noticeable bulge, like you see her like staring at him while it's highlighting the characters in the back. All you see of her face is that one big like creepy eye, like she is analyzing him. And it's great, but then you also see parts where it like reveals her actual face, her like genuinely pretty face underneath, and it's like, oh, she's a weirdo, but that doesn't mean she's not attractive, because attractive people can be fucking weird too. Like, attractive people aren't just like models with like high and mighty attitudes and stuff. There's a lot of attractive people who can be like fucking weirdo gamers and anime fans and whatnot. Like, if you go to a convention, you're going to see a lot of attractive people there. In some fantastic cosplays that just are like amazingly created. I love cosplays so much. Like, honestly, like that would be a good like almost stealth cosplay. Hirose in this, like all you need is a purple hoodie. Have your hair have like long dark hair hanging over your face. It would be such an easy, simplistic cosplay to pull off. Like, my hair is not super long. It's tied up right now, but it's not like super long right now. But I could probably style it to where it's like going down in front of my face, or I could just wear a wig or something. And getting a purple hoodie probably wouldn't be too difficult. I could cosplay that easily. And like you could have like a drawing pencil or stuff like that. Obviously, you're not going to run around with a desk unless you have like one of those like kind of desks you can like hang on your body, like they have the shoulder straps and everything. Maybe something like that, but yeah, it's like that could easily still be a good stealth cosplay, something really simple and easy to work with. That doesn't cost a lot of money. You don't have to do a lot of like work to make. I'm getting very off track here, and I'm sorry about that. I was talking about how she's a gremlin ass weirdo, and now I'm going into cosplay talk. um, I haven't even talked about the actual episode yet. So, the episode mostly focuses on kind of her really coming to terms with being in this world. She's obviously fangirling at all this stuff that she recognizes, but also kind of coming to terms with whether or not she wants to be in this world. Like, there's the side of her that's saying she doesn't, especially seeing some things that are not so great, like sexism, which I don't think was entirely meant that way. I think he was just getting really defensive against her. Because like when he's called out on the fact that like Memoroon or whatever her name was is already part of the Nine Soldiers, he's like trying to like justify it. And I made the joke like, oh, but she's one of the guys. um, but he's trying to figure out a justification for it. And it's clear he didn't actually. That's not actually what he meant. Like he doesn't actually believe that she can't be one of the nine warriors because she's a girl. He's just not sure how he feels about her right now, and he's not sure he wants her in the group because of that. There's a lot of probably wild feelings that are very confusing for everyone in this regard. And I'm not even just talking about possible love connection, which is very possible to happen here. But it's like I think he's just confused by this entire experience, considering everything that's happened, especially seeing her abilities, which we do see again in this episode and are great as ever. The missiles are an interesting touch, and I like how the missile trails are very paper-like. That's a really, really fun idea, and I like that it's different too this time. It's not just a another like giant thing, another giant like golem or whatever you would call it. Because it's like that would be just too much of the same thing, and even like her I forgot what it was called. She said it a couple times, but even her tool, let's just say, because it is a tool. Um, it even told her it's like you can't draw the same thing more than once. You have to keep changing things up. Creativity. And it took her a moment to think of what to do, but she figured it out. She drew it, and yeah, it's it's really interesting how it all like works, and only seems to work in desperate moments as of now. I also like the explanation for why she has to sleep it off for 3 days after, because she realizes she's doing basically 3 days worth of work in a very short amount of time. And her power allows her to do that, but it exhausts her body to such a degree that she needs to rest that off. I think that's such a smart, like genuinely smart way to explain that kind of weakness with her power. But that does raise a potential problem in the future. If her power doesn't end up wiping out an entire army and she like falls over exhausted, she's going to be in danger. If she like let's say wipes out half of an army of these voids, the other half will still be there while she's unconscious. She would be in active danger, and I bet you anything that's going to happen. I bet you anything that there's going to come a point where she ends up falling unconscious because of this in the middle of a battle. Whatever she draws isn't able to take out everything, and she's put in danger because of it. And Luke or someone else has to save her. I bet you anything that is going to happen at some point. Meanwhile, we also see that there's this barmaid, this barwoman, who looks a lot like her old manager, her the president and everything. And apparently she realizes in that moment, it's like, oh yeah, she worked on this movie, didn't she? So it's like she was put in as like a side character. I think that's a fun little idea. And that means she could see other people who worked on this in the movie too, in this world as well. So that could lead to some interesting moments if they follow through on that. But her biggest advantage right now is basically what comes across as precognition. Because she knows everything that's going to happen. She knows what this entire story is about. She can let people know, and she can, and this will allow the kingdom to remain as safe as possible and be as prepared as possible against the oncoming threats. Excuse me. And that's I feel a big deal. But unquestionably, like, it can't go this perfectly all the time. It can't be this, like, just easy. So I'm very curious as to how they're going to start introducing those kinds of issues to where things start going wrong or just not as well as they need to be. Enemies aren't able to be taken out just by one drawing. And I wonder if we're going to see her get over that weakness too. If we're going to see her be able to handle that a lot better. A lot of questions with how this is going to go. We already know kind of who the end game boss is. We already know like was it like Full Void or Final Void or something like that? That's if the final soul thing is eaten by the voids. This final one will come, and it's like the basically herald of the end times. It'll destroy the entire world. Now we see it in the opening, and so I assume it is going to come. It's absolutely going to happen, and they're going to work to stop it before it can destroy the world. Now there's supposed to be 9 heroes, right? But I think we only know of 5 right now. Because if we're counting Hirose, because it was said that she would become one of the heroes if things go well in this battle, and it did. So there's her, there's Luke, there's Unio, there's the robot dude, and then there's meme elf girl, Memeroon, Meme-roon. Her name has meme in it, but that's like 5. So we have 4 more characters that we could introduce to the squad to create this group of 9. And I wonder, like, what other kind of characters we're going to have. Like, what other, like, types of combat or magic or whatever else we're going to introduce for that. 9 is a very specific number to include. So I'm very curious as to how that's going to end up going. But I guess we'll have to continue to find out, because at this point, I'm just enjoying the show, you know? I'm just having fun and hoping that it remains as such. Even if the I can't say that I'll still have fun with this series if it's enjoyable, even if the story's not super great. Because I do tend to be very story focused when it comes to a lot of anime. And if a story's bad, it does hurt the overall quality for me. But at the same time, it's like the story isn't really what I'm so focused on and what I'm enjoying as much, at least right now. And don't get me wrong, I like the story. But as of right now, the characters are the biggest highlight for me, which is also one of my top things when, judging a series or movie or game or whatever else. Like, story and characters are the top two. They're the biggest things of import for me, in anything that's, meant to have a focus on its story and characters. Like when you're talking video games, like little puzzle games, that doesn't need as much. Or if you're talking like episodic series that are meant to be like their own thing, or even anthology shows where each episode is its own thing, it's like that can sacrifice a little bit of that. You don't need a lot of continuity and whatnot. But even with anthology stuff, you still want the story and characters to be good enough to carry the series to a degree. You still want to be able to enjoy it on that level, even if the characters are only going to be there for an episode. Whew. Excuse me. Like when you watch an episode of Black Mirror, you want to connect with the characters so that their plights, surrounding the technology and everything hit more. When you when I was watching Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, it's like to a degree I still wanted to connect with the characters and everything, and the stories going on, because it allowed the horror to hit even better. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping for with this. Like, even if the story is not like the best, most advanced connected thing ever, if the characters at least continue to like get me invested in them, I think that'll be enough for me. Because like I said, I mean I loved Unio in the first one, and he didn't get as much here, but I still enjoyed him. He's still fun. Mimaroon, we don't really get a lot of yet. Luke, we're starting to get more of, and yeah, I think he's compensating with his confusion and insecurity surrounding Hirose in regards to how he's acting around her, especially with like some of the things he said. I definitely think we're gonna get a lot more to him. But Hirose herself, like, easily took the spot of favorite character from Unio after the first episode. Like, her gremlin energy is just so infectiously awesome. And also, she's kind of adorable. Like, she's kind of a cutie pie. Of course, I also kind of find gremlin energy people to be cute in general. So it's like, that's not a surprise to me. A lot of times, not all the time. Depends on how it's handled. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I really am starting to, like, absolutely love Hirose's character. And I'm very excited to see more of the creativity surrounding her powers and what kind of other things she summons. I think I think that this could be a real dark horse series for me. A real surprise. But for the meantime, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of episode 2 of Zenshu? Which, by the way, I wonder what that means, like what the title like translates to. Um, I feel like that might like, because I don't know what that means, like in terms of what the series is about and all. It might be something like Bleach, where it doesn't really mean that much at all. Or it could have a deeper meaning that connects to the story. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts down below. As always, no spoilers. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.